Hi. It might be Thursday afternoon. I don't know. Does anybody really know what day it is anymore? And I'm here with some advice and information about the rough draft that you'll be turning in by Sunday night at midnight. A draft of an essay in which you compare the historical work of Howard Zinn and Jill Lepore and argue that one is a better history than the other. Last night I was listening to a podcast called 7 Rules for Making Screencasts, and I learned that in these screencasts I've been making for you, I've broken every single one of the rules. The first rule is never go past 6 minutes. So I promise you this is going to be a short screencast. Let's go. Have you ever heard about shitty first drafts? The shitty first draft is a term coined by the writer Anne Lamott, one of my favorite writers. Here she is describing what she means. Shitty first drafts. All good writers write them. This is how they end up with good final drafts. People tend to look at successful writers who are getting their books published and maybe even doing well financially, and they think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million, feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have and what a great story they have to tell. But this is just a fantasy. I know some very great writers who you love and who write beautifully and have made a great deal of money, and not one of them sits down routinely feeling wildly enthusiastic and confident. Not one of them writes elegant first drafts. All right, one of them does, but we do not like her very much. We do not think that she has a rich inner life, or that God likes her, or can even stand her. And so Anne Lamott goes on in this vein over a page and a half. The point being, all good writing begins with terrible first drafts. And that's what I'm asking you to turn in by Sunday night at midnight. A terrible first draft. Lamott calls the terrible first draft the down draft. The point of writing a first draft is to get everything down on paper. Everything, without criticism. Everything that runs through your head. Later, with my help, we'll go back through that down draft and pick out maybe the one good idea that's in that whole steaming pile of crap. Because that's usually about the best you can hope for. So next week, after I read your draft, I'll pull out the 1 or 2, if you're lucky, 3 really cool ideas that you had. I'll also tell you, you don't want to say that, or you don't even try making that argument. It's not going to work. So that's the kind of advice you'll get from me when you sit down to go work on your second draft, which Lamott calls the up draft. If in the down draft you write everything down, in the up draft you clean it up. Then there'll be a third draft that you'll do just before you turn it in. She calls that the dental draft. In the dental draft, you go poking into all the cavities and fillings and wiggling every single tooth until it's perfect. So, by Sunday night at midnight, you're going to turn in a shitty first draft that we all know is going to be terrible. Again, that's just the way it has to be. Some advice. First of all, keep in mind what I said in the handout with information about this thing. You've got to take a side. So this is not the time to do that thing where both books are really good and they both would make great recommendations and I can't take a side. Yeah, don't do that. You have to take a side. What else? Oh, show me what you know. The point of this assignment is to show what you learned in the course about what makes history plausible versus implausible. One history better than another. What history actually is in its essence. So you don't want to make an argument, even in the shitty first draft, that you like Howard Zinn as the better history because his book is written on a 7th grade reading level, and that would work better for Americans. Maybe that's true. Maybe you did one of those reading tests that you learned in an education class you took somewhere, and you scientifically have shown that Howard Zinn is writing on a 7th grade level. Well, that's cool that you would do that, and good to know. But you know what? To make that argument, you didn't need to take my class. So, that's not a very impressive argument to me as your teacher reading your essay. You want to make some arguments that make use of what you learned in this course. Show me what you know. So, good luck with your drafts. Don't worry about it being great. It's not going to be great. Don't worry about looking stupid. All first drafts make the author look pretty stupid. That's true of me. It's true of everybody I know. Just get it down, and that'll be good enough. I'll be in touch next week.